Welcome to the Podcaster's Guide to a Visible Voice. Reveal and define your voice to speak your truth through the power of podcasting. And I'm your host, Mary Chan.
So let's go.
Hello, and thank you for joining me today on episode 15, Identifying Your Audience for Podcast Growth. This is one of the key foundations for your podcast. Whether you already have a show or you're launching a new one, you need to know who is your audience. You need to identify who that person is listening to your show. You may have taken some free podcasting courses or did some Googling, and a lot of people say you need to shape your ideas and find your ideal listener. True, I am no different. But what does that really mean? Why does finding your audience matter to your podcast? Without knowing who you are talking to, you also may not find your voice as easily. Podcasting is a very intimate medium, and as you know, you like to listen through maybe your earbuds on walks or running errands. Perhaps you're at home and you're cooking, doing the dishes, and sometimes people even listen in the shower. That's a very intimate place. But also today, there is a growing trend of groups of people listening together, creating more of a community space. Edison Research released its 2020 Spoken Word Audio Report back in November, which consists of all audio that doesn't focus on music. What that includes is audiobooks, some forms of radio like talk radio, and of course, podcasts. The report states that 42% of listeners listen alone, which is usually what I do. How about you? But that also means the reverse is 58% of listeners are spending time listening with others. That's more than half of the listening audience. So let's get to know your audience a little better. Think about what they are doing when they're listening to your show. The number one location for listening is in the home. And this was pre-COVID too, so we're not talking about how we're in lockdown and we're stuck at home listening. Even before COVID, most of the listening was done at home. So then, why are they listening? Why are they choosing to listen to your show? Is it for stress relief? To learn something new? To be comforted? Or to connect with someone? Perhaps to feel less lonely? That last question is probably pretty true for this COVID era. It's important to think of one person, though, when doing anything related to your show, because you can then gauge what those answers that we asked previously, what they could be. Then create the content that's relevant to them. If you can get that one person to listen to you, everyone else is just gravy. You really want to focus in and hone in on who this person is. Sometimes it helps to actually put a name to your ideal listener. Let's say her name is Kate. Kate is in her late 30s. She's got one kid who also runs a health and wellness business, but also loves to garden in her spare time, and that's when she is listening to your show. So let's say, for example, your show is about running a health and wellness business, and you are looking to Kate and showing her how self-care can be like gardening, where you can spend time digging in the dirt and enjoying the great outdoors. Kate likes to grow food in her garden, so you can talk about how cycles of the business are like cycles in the garden. You want to be able to reap those benefits, enjoying the fruits of your labor and celebrating in your business, just like enjoying all the food from your garden. Knowing your ideal listener means knowing exactly how she is thinking, so that you can help out in the best way possible. Knowing her pain points, knowing what are her challenges, and you can speak directly to that because you know exactly what she needs. If you didn't have an ideal listener, then who would you be talking to? The greater world? Everyone and anyone who is listening? No, that doesn't build intimacy nor connection. You want to be able to pinpoint exactly what someone's needs are, and that is how you build a relationship. That is how you build trust, and that is how you get raving fans listening to every word that you have to say and trusting in your voice. Though sometimes it's not necessary to have to carve out an avatar, like my avatar Kate I mentioned earlier. If you're starting out, what you can do instead is create an emotion. What do you want your listener to feel? How do you want them to react? And what is that emotional connection that you want them to have from your message, from your show, from your episodes, and ideally from your voice? Once you have the emotion laid out for your show, the next step might be to create that avatar, that ideal listener. So when you are recording your episodes, you have that person in your mind and the emotion connected together. That's what you'll be speaking to. Tell Kate about how you know what it's like to struggle in business, but also tell Kate about how wonderful it can be to enjoy the community that she's built in her business, much like enjoying all the apples that she harvested from her tree in her garden. Because, as I said before, from Edison research, 42% of listeners are listening by themselves, and usually with earbuds. So when you think about it from the listener's point of view, the way to connect is how you speak, and also in choosing words like you. Believing in that one person means you should choose to use the word you, which has a greater impact to that person listening. If I said, "Hey everyone," or "Hey everybody out there listening," it doesn't create that intimate relationship with whoever is listening. If I said, "Hey everyone," versus "Hi, how are you?" Did you get that difference? When you're listening to my voice, you hear what I'm saying. Not everyone out there, because only you are listening to me. Does that make sense? Although 58% of listeners are listening in a group, you can still create that intimate connection because each person listening still believes that you are talking directly to them when you say you. So knowing who you are talking to, that one sole person you are talking to, is extremely important in creating a natural sounding delivery in your voice to create a connection, build trust, and be authentically you. So find your ideal listener, identify who your audience is, and create an avatar. And if you're not ready for that avatar, create an emotional experience. How do you want your listener to feel? If you need a helping hand figuring this all out, I'd love to record a conversation with you, and maybe we'll have it on our podcast. So let me know if you want a complimentary 15-20-minute session, and we can quickly go through this one exercise with you to identify your audience and find your ideal listener. Drop me a message at visiblevoicepodcast.com and let's get started. Thank you so much for listening to the Podcaster's Guide to a Visible Voice. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you'd share it with a podcasting friend. And to reveal more voicing and podcasting tips, click on over to visiblevoicepodcast.com. Until next time.